get the tractor beam out of commission, or this is going to be a real short trip. Okay, hit
it! Hey, everybody. How's it going? It's Monday night. There was no group therapy last Friday, so did we have any shows last week? Jason? Is there something wrong with your audio?
Impromptu
Hello?
show. Part of my voice is, yeah.
No, you're really broken up, brother.
Yeah, and then we have a print show.
Can't hear you, brother. You're like completely like robot. All right, well, looks like it's me for a little bit till he comes back. Yeah, I don't remember us having a show last week. My memory's not the best thing either, so might have group therapy. I think we have group therapy this coming week. And more than likely, I don't know this for sure, but I think Cece's probably going to have a print show tomorrow because there was some print news about Celebration, which I was actually interested in because in the past I have bought a couple of the prints from Celebration. That's usually my favorite prints that come out. I don't buy a lot of prints. I don't have the wall space. I'd rather put these up. But you know, I was looking forward to seeing what was coming up, and I have to be honest, I wasn't impressed. I was hoping for like a cool Macquarie thing or something, but I didn't see anything. So they're through Bottleneck, I hear. But that's for CC show. I was gonna show pictures just quickly, but I'll let them do that tomorrow if there's there. Hello, everybody. ARC Trooper Robin Scott, Star Wars Addict 77, aka Jeff S. Okay, and Benjamin, how's it going? The regulars are here. So this was just an impromptu thing. I don't know if anybody else is joining. Jason was probably trying to. I think his internet's all screwed up. Matt's at soccer. Steve is busy with work. So I said, fuck it. I'm just going to go on and start talking. And, I got to talk to somebody about this shit. I can't talk to my family's tired of hearing about it. So, basically, I just figured I would just talk to everybody and get some questions and, just kind of like answer what people are thinking about. Jason, are you there yet? Is your audio working?
Yeah, I'm here, but I don't know, man.
Didn't you say you got new audio?
As far as my computer goes, tip top. I'm sorry.
Yeah, didn't you get like new internet today or something? We talk about,
dude. Whatever's going. Yeah, I had to install a new mesh network, but that's not the issue. It's the internet's tip top. It's StreamYard. Every time I open StreamYard, it's just like loading and crashing on me.
Well, you're better now.
Like I've tried multiple things. I even read a speed test, and I'm at like I'm going at like gigs of speed. So I don't know. StreamYard just keeps lagging and crashing.
Okay. Well, you've been better for the last like 30 seconds. So I think you're okay. So I mean, I figured we talk about Celebration coming up.
I'll hang on for a minute if it keeps doing it.
I think you're okay. You sound all right, Jason. Yeah, maybe not. You usually don't stop talking.
No. Yeah.
All right. So I figured we talk, some Celebration, see what everybody's got in mind. There's been a couple announcements, a couple guests have been announced. There's one panel that I'm excited for. even though it's the prequels, I still appreciate the prequels, and I still like the models that were used in the prequels. And I think a lot of people don't realize there was more model making in the prequels than most people thought, because a lot of it, everybody thinks it's CGI, but Jason told me before that there's actually more models made for the prequels than for the original trilogy. So, yeah, that's a panel. And actually, let me bring that up. That's a panel that I am definitely going to camp out for. Let's share, get the screen up, and we will do it. Yeah, so it's secret miniatures of the Star Wars prequels. Sunday, hopefully, I'll probably have to camp out for this thing. I'm not missing it. I like a lot of the ships in the prequels, especially like the Arc 170 and the ATTE, is it? The tank, not the precursor to the AT-AT. And I also like that turbo tank too, the big ones. I've had all those in Hasbro toys, but there's nothing like an actual scaled model of it. Yeah, you're right. ARC Trooper, love the Republic models. They're pretty sweet. Even the Jedi Starfighter from Sith, and trying to think any in Attack of the Clones I really like. I wasn't a fan of Dooku's like speeder bike, and I like the ARC 170, which is the dropship. The dropship is in Attack of the Clones. I also like the Dooku's glider, the one that that opens up and it has a big like parachute in front of it. That's pretty cool. I don't know, JC, you can try to get back on. If not, it's cool. All right, so let's take some questions that are in the comments. There actually was some questions asked in when I made a post today about tonight's show. Let's see what they wrote. Maybe we can answer a couple of these questions. Bear with me for a second, guys. Pulling solo tonight. All right, so we got from Nick Aberson. I won't show that yet. Let's see. Let's pull it up. There we go. So, where's it at? They're missing. Damn it. Okay, beginner question. I find it difficult to see the difference between an unpainted kit and gray primer. To avoid this issue, I use black primer so I can see when I have full coverage. But as you already mentioned in another video, it could influence the next color of paint you're using. Is this a common problem for people, or should I use better lighting setup? Angle of view, any tips? By the way, I'm using airbrush to prime. Yeah. Well, also, if you do black, let's say you do black, it's going to take more paint to cover it up. Plus, it will give you a darker tone in whatever color you're trying to use. So I did that with my X-Wing, and it took a little bit more, but it also gave the white like a grayish tint to it a little bit. And from what I understand, the models, they used like a black acrylic to underneath. So, spraying on top of that, and also they used some black primer for, let's say, the Y-wing. I know that was used under the Y-wing. Jason,
Yeah, we'll try this one more time, man. But it's definitely StreamYard. So I don't mean to
Okay.
cut in the conversation and throw everybody off.
Nope.
But
Perfectly
I just
fine.
did like 3 speed tests and StreamYard just crashing on me.
Well, you sound fine now, so I'm not. I mean, should be good.
Hopefully it holds up. But as for those watching, you can hear I'm a little under the weather. That's why I'm not on camera again. But yeah, if this happens again, then you guys just have to listen and look at Chris's pretty face for the next hour.
Not so bad, huh?
That's so bad.
Anyway, so I was tackling this question that Nick Aberson had asked earlier about Black Primer.
Yeah.
And you left a lengthy. You went back to your old days of your long messages.
But it's that long. I think it's thorough.
No, it's thorough. It's very thorough and very comprehensive and very well done.
There is honestly, I know you're just kidding, but like not even a defense mode. I'm being genuine here.
Mm-hmm.
There's sometimes like I remember being that guy, right, where I'm like, hey, this is kind of a noob question. I'm gonna throw it out there, and getting like a 2-line answer, and I'm like, that doesn't help me.
No,
so that's why I was that's why this time around I was a little bit more descriptive, because I was like, a little bit of info can go a long way, or a lot of info can go a long way, versus that little like, hey, do this and that. Because in this situation, there's really no right or wrong way to approach it, right?
No.
It's all about gaining your feel, gaining like what's comfortable. Everybody even has their own way of like, mixing. There's that whole, thing of like, what's that? Like the floor polish. I think they call it true or something, or future. Or, there's people that are like naysayers, other people who think it's great. Like there's all different ways of approaching things. But that's why I gave them a little like, hey, here's a dark primer. I do a mixture of both,
Yeah, but like, so I don't know what to say exactly, because if I had used a black primer or even a dark primer on my sandcrawler, I wouldn't have gotten the look that I wanted. Because I used a white primer, I got a very, very faded, like brownish red tone to the color on top, which is exactly what I wanted. And I even noticed if I paint, I did do like some of the greeblies in regular gray primer and then go over it with the roof brown. You can visibly see the difference. That some of the greeblies are a little bit darker than the actual model. So like even this, you're going to get 2 different tones, right? You're going to get 2 different, like when you spray that with the SP lettering, you're going to get, I mean, it's not much of a difference, but there's still going to be a difference. Yes?
Well, no, once this is finished, so this is pre-prime. That's why I said in the description and added the picture, I do both. So both of these are rattle can priming, all with an airbrush prime.
Right.
Once that's blasted with a once over, it'll mend all together, and then I'll do the SP lettering, the weathering, etc. But I do think it's very important to note that. So that makes sense, right? But it's also important to note that what you just said, it also makes a difference what you're working on. Like black primers specifically, I like them for some ships.
Yeah, I like it so that you can like he says, like Nick said, you can tell when you get full coverage. If you a lot of times it's hard. Like I'm doing gray, like the SP lettering gray over top of a gray primer, and you don't really see it until you have a couple coats on there. And it takes a little bit of getting used, like training your eye to see the paint lay on top. I don't know, Jason. The StreamYard is messing with you. I want you to hang out. But anyway, yeah, so that's his question. And then there was another question that Keith wrote. I think he wrote. Oh, that's just asking me different heights. But okay, well, let's get to some of the questions in let's get some of the comments. Let's see here. We got John Flake. He said, my last 2 pieces of D'Agostini Falcon shipped today. I'm trying to figure out if it's best to repaint the pieces before or after assembly. Any opinion? Well, okay, so you can put it together, but then there are pieces that you need to paint after. At least I did. Like there's a lot of like pipes and greeblies that go on top, and you can't get at certain spots if you paint it all together. Um, so I would look at your model, right? And I would, try to figure out what what you can paint first. Like I even painted some of the greeblies on the spruces and then added them afterwards. Because like I said, you can't get at some. It actually tells you I think in the video it tells you to do that. Jason, you ever look into that or no? Still not. Just keep trying to talk, Jason. That's all I need to know. You there?
Look into what?
No. Well, he asked a question about trying to figure out to repaint the pieces or before or after assembly, and I told him, like sometimes you have to paint parts and then add parts later. You know what I mean? You have to paint the model and then paint the parts separately and put them on later because you can't get at certain, things that are hidden. No. Damn it, Jason. All right. Well, let's see here. Arc Trooper. Yep. Love the Republic models. Those are great. Benjamin. We'll get to the comment. We're going to just start getting to some comments. Episode 1 has the most practical mud show effects. Yes, that's what I've heard. That's what Jason has told me many times. And somebody mentioned here the Q-tips. Yep. Star Wars Attic, a.k.a. Jeff. All those Q-tips that went back and forth in the pod racing arena. That's pretty cool. I'm actually, excuse me. I wish I could see, I wish they would have a display of a lot of actual models and props from. I'm surprised they're not because it's been a long time since they brought those out. Did he go away? All right, we're just gonna keep letting Jason try to get on. Let's see. I don't have Sunday, but now I think it's pretty good panels that day. I don't know. I don't have Sunday, but now I think I'll be getting Sunday this week. Pretty good panel. I don't know. AT-ATs are good.
So, Chris, can you hear me a little better now?
I can hear you now.
Yep. Yeah, last ditch effort. We'll see how it goes.
Yep, you're much better now. A little loud.
This StreamYard, man, it's frustrating.
Yeah. Did you switch to your phone or something?
Yeah, I don't know. It's the StreamYard app. It just keeps. I opened it on like a different browser. I have two computers in front of me, both of them. Every time I open StreamYard, it's just cycling through. It must be like the server or something. But yeah, let's go for it. I don't want to throw the show off too much.
No, you sound good now. It's working. I would definitely love to make a high-end prequel model. There's almost nothing out there. That is true. I don't think there's anything. Do you know of any?
Prequel model?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do actually. I'm going to try to look up a pic of it. And it's an interesting one. The work on it is magnificent. And I actually considered buying it a few times, but at the time, I just felt financially the price was a little out of range for me for what it was. But wait to see the work on this one. I'm going to pull this one up. Let me see what you think.
Yeah, which one? Do you know what? Do you know what?
I don't know the name of it, but I'm sure everybody in the chat will know.
The reason why I'm talking about this is because I was talking about the panel that they're having about the prequels. And that is something I am absolutely going to not miss. I don't really plan on getting to too many panels, but that's the one I'm going to definitely be at. They haven't announced too many panels, have they? Oh, come on. The show is falling flat on his face. Yeah. So, we'll get into that. Let's see here. This is I'm working on an ATST right now. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I've had this model kit for a little while now, and haven't really played with it at all, but I've decided to make it and probably end up selling it because I want to build a found parts one with a actual aluminum armature. See, now this I primed it in light gray. Now I think if I'd have done a black, it probably would have gotten a little bit darker, don't you think? You're still not there.
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
All right, good. Okay, good.
What were you saying now?
Just if I'd have done this in a black primer, it would have definitely not been this lighter color.
I don't know. See, with the ATST, so that's where we got cut, right? But I don't want to toss the show around. So it all depends on the piece. What I was saying about the Sandcrawler is where it's already a dark muddled piece, it may have given it less of a redder, browner tone and more of like a sort of dark brown chocolate tone. Yeah, so that can happen. With this, what I like is if you dust it, not with rattle can paint because that goes on really strong, but if you dust it with the airbrush black primer, it gives enough of that sort of peek through, just ever so subtle that it gives it more of that like weathered and worn look. You know, you barely notice it, but if the light's hitting it in the right way, it makes it look mechanical. You know, and it gives it how like when paint wears down on old machinery, the look that it should have. But I also like going in there with the very fine tip of a Dremel and nicking a few areas, and instead of painting the black on, you can bring the black out. You know, like subtractive painting versus additional painting.
Yeah, this is I took notice that it's very one color, and that means I just have to go all over top of it with, you know, like beiges and grays and stuff to make it look aged and not so brand spanking new. It's just I wish I'd appreciated kind of. I know appreciating is not really an ILM type of technique, but with this, I should have done it a little bit. Just give it some in the corners and to give it different like shades of gray to it, you know, with a black primer. Did you do that? You shaded it with some black primer?
Yeah. So some of the parts that are closer to finish, like the head part, after I did the rattle can primer, I blasted it with airbrush primer, and it's a black base.
Okay.
So when I roll out the SP lettering, some of the nooks and crannies and the crevices and the folds, you see just a little bit of like darkness coming through, a little bit of like a shadow.
Right.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I did with my Sandcrawler. I actually sprayed it like very blotchy on top of the white primer, and that also gave that kind of effect. Like I think if you have like a different colored gray or like a little bit of black on there, and you spray this kind of blotchy, you might even get that same effect. You know?
Yeah.
So Benjamin's asking what scale ATST we want to order the Bandai ATST just for practice. I don't know what scale that Bandai is. Like this is
like 172 maybe.
Is this 172?
The Bandai?
No, the
this one.
Yeah.
I guess this would be considered 124th because it's 24th its size. I mean, this thing if the legs are posed up and not crouched parking position, he stands almost 2 feet tall. I mean, it's a bit of a stretch, but when he's crouched, he's about 1.5 feet. You know, I don't know as far as the number though. Maybe this is 138.
Wow, this is really going bad. All right, let's start again. After base coat, then any colors. Do you mist your base again before final weathering? Once done, do you matte coat? All right. Sorry, guys. I really appreciate it. Oh, I'm sorry. All right.
I was about to
So
sign off. Could they not hear you?
they couldn't hear me. I muted myself because I was coughing. So I
Dude, I was about to sign off. I'm like, oh my God, I'm lagging out again.
No. My fuck up. All right. So you put your base coat on in your colors. You missed it 2/3. You're supposed to mist it 2/3 the amount that you would finish. Okay. Then you put on your weathering, your blast marks, and your dirty, your grime and stuff like that, and then stain it. Okay, all your staining, and then do your final third of misting. But you have to be careful because once you do that, you can lose a lot of your detail and a lot of your, especially the staining, like, because the staining is just filters of thin color. And I did that on my X-Wing. So I finished it, weathered it, stained it, then misted it too much, and then I lost all my colors. I love staining. Staining is probably my favorite part of models. And I lost it all, so I had to do it all over again. So that's how I did mine. That's kind of how I've heard also, I mean, from better painters than me. And then do not matte coat it. It will dull your colors. You will lose a lot of weathering. Archive X and most paints are pretty sturdy if you prime it right and then color it and paint it afterwards. You won't, like, I mean, you have to be careful, obviously, but you won't. It's pretty sturdy. Like, but don't matte coat. I wouldn't matte coat it unless the only way I would matte coat it is like with my Sandcrawler. The first time I did one, I painted it and I loved the base coat, and I was really afraid that if I screwed up the weathering, because I was still pretty new and I was a little nervous to do weathering, because weathering is where I mess up a lot, because I don't want to go too far. I don't want to get too dark, too much weathering. It doesn't appeal to me. It might appeal to other people, but it doesn't appeal to me. So what I did was I matte coated it so that if I didn't like how I weathered it, I could erase that or take it away without actually messing up the base color. It's sort of like a restart point, basically. Yeah, so stay away from matte coats. Those aren't great to do with. No, you'll lose so much detail. Thanks, Robin. I appreciate it. I feel like it's not going very smoothly tonight, but oh well, whatever. I'm just on here talking. I wish Jason was back, but he sounds.
I'm here, man.
There? Okay,
Yeah.
good.
I'm just trying not to cut you off, man.
Wow, what the hell? That's first.
I'm doing right by you. I'm doing right by you, brother, tonight.
Oh, that's funny. So have you don't matte coat yours, Jason, right?
No, I don't do any matte coat, clear coat, sealants, nothing. I mean,
No.
I keep it original, true to form. The only time I ever use any type of sealant is, I mean, you know what happens? You get statues and they, this piece breaks, that piece breaks. Sometimes they shatter. Well, when you get used to, just like anything, when you start to build models, right? You get more confidence, more comfortable that you realize you can sort of, play with and manipulate anything because it's all materials. A lot of it's resin based or whatever it may be. So I do keep a can of both clear sheen and clear matte on hand. So if a statue comes in broken that needs like really, heavy fixing and I have to like rebuild it, and I'll just coat it over and it just seals it up nice and gives it that new statue look. But as far as like a studio skill kit, I always just paint it, prime it, paint it, weather it, and that's it. Leave it alone.
I'm trying to think what I did I sprayed it with a matte coat. I sprayed something with a matte coat, and it was supposed to stay. It's supposed to be matte, but it does give you a little bit of a shine, and I don't like that. I'm trying to think, what was it I did that to, Jason? You remember what that was?
I don't know.
Damn it, I forget what I did that to. Oh, okay, cool. There we go. Oh, you like that? The taxi.
No, I don't. But that's the only prequel piece I could think of, and I just thought this came out amazing too. Like the detail on it. So that's a
Mhm.
video. I don't know if you can show it, but I'm gonna send some images over to you as well.
Yeah, send me
So
images. It played music over top. I don't really want to do that.
we can just mute it, no? Well, yeah,
Yeah,
I'll send the images.
just
What
send me
was cool
images.
about the video is the video showed like the remote with the lighting features and all that. But what's cool about this piece, well, what's interesting is this piece has been for sale for a long time. When I was interested in potentially purchasing, just because I thought the work was so good, not because I actually liked the model itself, but the work was so, you know,
Mhm.
just like next level. It was around $5,000. They upped it to about 10 grand now, which I think is interesting.
Mhm.
And I get nothing against the way people do things, but if something's sitting longer and longer and longer, you think you would want to incentivize it to sell, not
Yeah,
up the price,
definitely. Yeah, you don't
you
want to
know?
up it. No,
But
nobody's gonna. If nobody bought it at $5, they're not gonna buy it at $10,
yeah, but I mean,
right?
it's Zachary Bracken, so that speaks, his name speaks for itself. He did um recently was posted on one of the forums, but the Firefly ship. He did that
Yes.
amazing, like highly detailed one. So his work is just, next level, but I'll send the images over so we can scroll through.
Wait, John Emblem did that?
No, Zachary Bracken.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about that Firefly ship then later on.
Here's the handful right there.
Okay. Didn't come up yet. Nope. Well, when
I
it
feel
does,
like
I'll
we don't,
pull it up.
yeah, I feel like we don't get to see a lot of prequel models, and if we do, they're not really to scale. They're very small,
Yeah.
you know?
What do you use for staining? Oil, Starship Filth. Well, there is a really good oil paint that's called Starship Filth that I actually I know Jason Eaton uses it. He that's pretty much where I heard of it was Jason Eaton's video for the Ion Cannon. And it was the first time I used oil paint. I never used it before, and I liked it. It's really good. But with staining, I take so you have your acrylic base coat and colors, and I like staining and weathering with enamels. It just seems to break down better and thin better with with paint thinner, mineral spirits. And you can, let's say you want a rust puddle. Okay, you want a rust puddle. You can thin down the rust paint to like it's just tinted thinner. Okay, and you just paint it on lightly onto a panel. Put a blow dryer on it. It dries in seconds. Okay, and then you can add more and more and more, and it darkens it. It like makes the staining different. What's the word I'm looking for, Jason? Filters, like it just it's not opacity, right? Jason, you're not there. God damn it. But then you can also like if you have, a puddle of oil, it's supposed to be like a puddle of filth or oil or rust, you can do different tones. Like the edges can be lighter and then the inside the middle can be darker. You just take the enamel paint, thin it with paint thinner, and then just apply it, let it dry, build it up. That's I don't have the picture. I'll bring up a picture later of what I'm talking about. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see, ArchiveX. Nope, that ain't gonna work. Oh well, I'll find it then. Let's look up ArchiveX, and then I can bring up. Oh, Jesus Christ, my search function. There it is. ArchiveX paint. Here we go. I love this site. because it gives me so many ideas for paint wise. And let's look under here for mining, and it'll bring up what I'm talking about. There they are. Here we go. Perfect. So this is what I mean by staining. See the rust. Okay, that was all applied with enamel that's thinned, and then you can build it up and build it like this was painted, stained, but then I added more here. Like this might be one layer. This is probably like 3 layers, and then these streaks were also built up layers, and these over here as well. That's what I mean by staining, Scott. Hopefully that helps. You back yet, Jason?
Yeah, I'm here, man.
No?
I haven't left.
Okay. Oh, I asked you a question, but you weren't there.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I was reading something to.
So like this is also what this is the part I love, this staining. That's what my favorite part is of models, is the staining. I try to find ways to add it everywhere I can. Like this is on the Falcon, D'Agostini one. This is some staining here with on the Sandcrawler.
It's nice
down here as well. Yeah, it's just something small. It's a minor little thing, and even up here is also, I call it staining, but I'm sure a lot of people call it filtering. That probably is the more professional term for it, but that's my favorite part. I didn't do much staining on this, but here again, here's some more staining on the X-Wing. And a lot of that is just, putting it on there, blow drying it, just so that, the paint thinner dries up right away. So, yeah, there you go, Scott. Let's see here. What else do we got here? We're talking about beards. That's cool. Code 3 has a
Republic gunship. Yeah.
It's small. It's a smaller one, yeah.
But he's right. You don't see too much prequel stuff out there, and even with the Code 3, like for some reason, there are if you look it up, if you Google search studio scale for the prequels, a handful of things will come up, but they're all, even if they're scratch build, Chris, they're all on the much smaller side.
Are they?
Yeah, it's interesting, and I'm not sure why, because some of them are highly detailed, but they really, they just made them in a very small scale. I mean, I'm sure there's got to be a few out there on private collections that people have made, but prequels have some really interesting ships.
Yes. I saw that the ATTE. Is that the right one? Is that from the prequels? It's like the AT-AT.
Yeah, when they're like riding it. Yeah, they ride it like a horse almost. Like you can see them basically.
Yeah, I don't think you're riding it like a horse.
It's an AT-AT, but they're not like an ATST, but they're not covered, right?
No, it's the it's the one. I'm sure you haven't watched Clone Wars, but it's the one that Captain Rex. It's Rebels. I'm sorry, Rebels. It's the one where Captain Rex is on top and they're fishing for these worms in the desert. It's like a AT-AT basically, but that one has I've seen that it has a physical model made for the movie, and it's pretty big. It's almost it's comparable to the size of a ATST from Jedi, that size.
Oh, okay.
So let's take this question. I'm a newbie to models and studio scaled vehicles, but one thing I always wondered is why do they cost as much as a 1/3 piece as 1/3 scale pieces like P1? What's P1?
Like Prime 1. Prime 1.
Okay.
So there's a few different reasons. Is he talking about a kit, model studio scale vehicles? But okay, so if you're talking about a finished piece, Hazard Blue, the reason being is if you're getting it like built, painted, etc., and there's two answers to this, that can really get up there in price because you're talking about time, right? So picture like someone who's a salaried worker or even an hourly wage worker, right? So let's say it takes you, 45-hour work week to earn X amount of dollars. So it could take you, not all in one sitting, but let's say it took you 30 hours to complete a build from, beginning to end, and then X amount of hours to paint it, etc. Plus that skill set, that takes time to learn, plus the resources. And this is, we mentioned this in the last chat when me and Chris were on, when Chris was talking about pricing, because you always want to be fair with people, right? You always want to say, hey, this is a friend or this is a collector. But what you have to take into consideration is when you're adding that snow, you realize it's going to take 6 jars of snow at $18 a jar, or get thinner or cleaner or whatever. You have to factor all that stuff in as well, right? Especially on a larger vehicle. So these are all small contributing factors. And then also, depending on the level of expertise and the person who's doing it, that's also. But if you're talking about just a straight up kit, like something that you're going to actually tackle, build, paint, etc., on your own with your own resources, they can still be pricey and expensive. And the reasons for that is because the due diligence, the amount of time, effort, and energy that has gone into, noting, detailing, tracking down the parts, and then casting those parts, building those parts up and because it's not just about tracking down the parts and finding them, but you have to assemble the kits in such a way that makes sense for the end user when they go to build it. So either way, the process is complicated and very time consuming. And a lot of people put the value on the visual aspect of what they're buying. Like, oh, I'm buying a Millennium Falcon, so that should cost more than an ATST or a Sandcrawler because of the size. But sometimes you might have a smaller vehicle that is a lot more complex than a bigger vehicle. It all depends. And it's the time, effort, and energy that you're paying for, and not necessarily the piece. I mean, you're paying for the piece, but that makes sense, right? You guys, Chris, it's making sense, right? So you're primarily paying for the labor versus the actual product.
Right.
The product is just what you receive is a byproduct of the labor, but it's the labor that you're paying for. That's why the price is something that is hard to justify.
And really, okay, let's say you take a model and let's say like the ATST or the Sandcrawler, like $2,000, okay, or $1,500. That is probably still way cheaper than, like in 1 week, a person might make $1,000 salary. You know what I'm saying? And a person might be spending more than 1 week on this model.
Yeah.
So you're not really, it ends up that the model maker puts a lot more time into it than he's getting compensated for.
Yes.
And you don't want to overcharge, and you don't want to, because nobody wants to pay too much for something. It's like, it's a fine line where you, either go too far or too little. If you go too little, you end up losing money. If you go too far, they'll say no, and they'll be like, I don't want to buy it. So
Exactly.
Jason, just so you know, I sent a link to Benjamin and Robin if they're interested in joining us tonight. Bring some more people on to talk.
Yep.
I think
Sounds good.
Ben's going to join us. Just so you know.
Yep.
But yeah, that's a good question, Hazard Blue. A lot of people look at the price for studio scale models and they're like, "Fuck that," which is,
It happens all the time, and it's good that we have a lot of different variations today, especially with the current technology of laser cutters and 3D printers. So if you look at an ATST, right? If you have a kit and somebody builds and paints that kit, you're looking at maybe $1,500, give or take, a little more, a little less, depending on the time and effort. Right. If that's scratch built, you're now talking at closer to $4,000 or $3,500. Yes. And people are going to be like, well, what's the difference? It's not even the detail. The argument isn't, oh, it's so much more detailed because it's scratch built. It's because some of those pieces, you're literally buying some kits that cost over $100 to strip one piece out of it.
Yeah.
And the amount of time, effort, and energy that you go through to collect 42 kits to build one piece is going to tack on another $2,000. And you're getting it pretty much how you see it on screen with no variations or revisions.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting thing.
I mean, scratch build one is absolutely way more expensive. It's just because there's a lot more time, a lot more resources, a lot more thought put into how you're going to make something scratch build. Like you're taking a sheet of styrene, flat sheet of styrene, and you're trying to shape that into, whatever, like a ATST head, so it's a lot more involved than just buying a kit, sanding it down, cleaning it up, and putting it together and selling it.
One thing,
Painting and selling it.
one thing I like to recommend. Sorry about my voice, guys. One thing I like to recommend for those who are interested in like starting out, don't want to spend too much, go with the 3D printed kit because there's a lot to work with. They're not nearly as brittle and fragile as they used to be. Technology's coming along where they can handle a little bit more roughness. I mean, still got to proceed with caution. But the flip side to that is what's great about a 3D kit is if you ever decide that like you want to dress it up a little bit or you want to maybe start adding some donor parts or found parts, you can go in and basically strip off the 3D printed parts and add the donor parts in place of that. And it gives you a little bit of a feel and a little bit more of an idea of what it would look like if it was scratch built, but it also gives you that in between. So the base of it, which is usually the most expensive of any scratch built, because if it's an armature or like Chris said, a bunch of hand cut scratch built styrene layers, that's usually the most difficult and time consuming. So if you can get the base of it 3D printed, and then you just have to pick apart a bunch of, greeblies and guns and bits and pieces out of different model kits, that's a lot easier and a little bit more fun, to be honest. You're going to cut your cost and your time down, and you're still going to have something that's really detailed and looks really cool. And you get the best of both worlds because you're not spending $3 or $4 grand, but you're also not just stuck with a straight up 3D printed model.
Plus, you could take the 3D model and more than likely the greeblies aren't 100% correct. They might be designed to look like the actual greebly, or it might be in the wrong place or something. Like if you sand that down and put the right one in, you have a better looking model altogether. You know what I'm saying? So, which is what you and I have done as well with some of these resin kits is, the greebly that's on it might not be thoroughly defined because of the kit. Who knows if part of the latex came apart or whatever the case may be, and you lose some of the definition, the detail of the kit part, and some of them are pretty damn important, But I know Merlin Models has been buying kit parts and scanning those and adding them to the actual builds, so it's coming along. Even it's 3D printing. Well, he don't 3D print. He 3D prints the initial one and then he casts it after that. So you're not getting a 3D print from him, but you're getting like Sci-Fi Models or Max Repley or something like that, So,
well, it's still great. I mean, apples and oranges, but still great kits, right? So
yeah,
if you want to test your hand at something, I think Max Repley is a great way to go because you get decent. I mean, I don't want to say bad. You get decent detail. I don't want that to come across the wrong way. A great detail, and you're not paying an arm and a leg, right? But you also don't have to sit there and work with hundreds of pieces. Now, if you're a little bit more, advanced, then I think a Merlin Models is the way to go because you're getting that high definition, that refined, detail in the smallest of areas that you probably won't even notice, but they're there. And it's going to take you a lot more time to put together, but the end product is going to be far superior in many ways. But that's not saying anything negative about the Max Repley stuff. It just shows there's differences. Just like if you have a resin kit, it's going to look fantastic. But if you have a scratch build kit, it's that much more different. And then there's the in between even with resin kits, like the Vader tie, Chris, right? I had I think it was the Nyson and Michael Reese Vader tie X1. And what I did was, as I was building it, I stripped off a lot of the greeblies and just got the bits from the donut kits and threw them on top. And I kept the base of it, which allowed me to really give it a little bit more definition. So there's a lot of fun and a lot of, experimenting you can do to really bring things along and just enjoy what you're doing.
Plus, okay, so take my Sandcrawler, for instance. It's not a studio scale kit. And I couldn't take the actual pieces and put it on there because it's not the right size. It's actually smaller, yeah, a lot smaller. And what the sculptor did, the man who made Randy Cooper, who made this kit, he designed the kit to look very similar to the studio scale one. It's close, but not quite there. It's very good. I like it a lot. I mean, most people look at it and they wouldn't be able to tell, but because most people don't really know what the actual studio scale Sandcrawler looks like. And I think, what's his name? Henny, he did that too. He took the Probe Droid dispatch pods and expanded them.
Yes.
Made them bigger. So he took the Greeblies and made them bigger. And also he did the A-Wing that made that smaller. So, but they're not I remember watching John Simmons' video, and they're not the exact kit parts, but they look very, very similar to the actual.
Lassie is one of those, no matter how far along you come on something, right? Mm-hmm. You just always marvel, like let's say you're into sports and you're a basketball player. It's like you could be a great basketball player, but then you're like, man, how does LeBron or Jordan do it? And you look at Lassie and you're just like, I marvel at what this guy's able to do, and he's so humble about it. But the fact that he's packing these kits like by hand, like in his laundry room, like at home, it's just it's bonkers.
Dude, he's vac forming by putting the styrene in the oven and having the vac form right next to the oven, pulls it out of the oven with some oven mitts, sticks it on, and zoom. It's like,
and it rivals that of like a kit you buy off the shelf at a model store. Like it's insane. It's insanity what some of these guys can do. Like Jason, Lassie. I mean, it really does boggle the mind at times. And when you start to get a little bit more confident and you're doing your thing, and you're like, yeah, look at this, it looks amazing. And then you turn and you see what they can do, and you're like, man, I got a lot to learn.
Well, yeah, it happened to me. Okay, I thought I did pretty good. I thought I did pretty good on my models. And then I got a couple from John Simmons. I told you this many times, Jason, haven't I?
Yeah.
So I took one look at it and I'm like, fuck, I got a long way to go. And he's been doing it for years. And he's also done more than just Star Wars stuff. And even my son said, I showed it to him, right? And he looks at me and he goes, Dad, he says, you do really good work. He says, and I don't want to make you feel bad, but this just puts your stuff to shame. Yes, I realize that. Yes. Yeah. I realize that.
But the good thing is, and we talked about this before, it's great because you can use it as reference. Like, the project I'm working on now, the Scratchbuilt ATSD, not that I would have never attempted it, but I would have never been able to get to the level of quality and detail that I'm at right now if I didn't have Lee Rouse sitting right next to me.
Right. Exactly.
So being able to use that as a point of reference and look at all the detail in hand makes a significant difference.
So I plan, like the ATST I'm doing now, I plan on having John's ATDT right next to it and kind of use some of his techniques a little bit as well.
Nice.
I mean, I'm on John's Facebook page 3 or 4 times a day. I feel like I stalk him, but I love his paintwork. There's no better painting work to me than John's. So I thought Ben was joining us. I think maybe he's getting his makeup on or getting, all dressed up. So yeah, Robin said he was coming, but anybody else got questions? I mean, we pretty much came on here just to answer some questions in the group. We're open to any questions. We're not just talking. We can talk anything you want. We can talk studio scale models. We can talk celebration.
We can talk about that beautiful new 3PO hot toy that's coming up for the 20th anniversary of Clone Wars.
Are you getting it?
I think, all right. Most people who watch know that I'm pretty much purging my hot toy collection with the exception of a handful.
Right.
But there's no attachment to Clone Wars, the movie, nothing, even the character. I mean, I like 3PO. Don't get me wrong. I actually do like 3PO. I know you're not a fan of him. I like him.
I'm not.
but for some reason, aesthetically and visually, the way they executed the look of him in that manner, I've liked it when I watched the movie. I liked it when Hot Toys first showcased it, and I saw that like 4 years ago. So I think I'm gonna grab that as just one of those figures that like doesn't go in the collection or on. Is that you like? It's gonna be one of those figures where I just like throw up on my computer or something while I'm working.
It looks amazing. Don't get me wrong; it looks fantastic. But I am not a fan of C-3PO whatsoever. I like him in Empire and I like him in Star Wars, but I don't like him anywhere else. Hi, Benjamin. How's it going?
Hi, how you doing? Can you hear
Good.
okay?
Yeah, we can hear you just fine.
All right, awesome.
Good to actually talk to you finally.
You too.
You guys have
What's
been
going
in the
on,
chat
brother?
every show.
Hey, Jason. Robin will be back in a moment.
Okay. So you guys start tackling studio scale models or yet or no?
I'm wanting to get into it. I've done some armor modeling and I really want to do it right, but I don't have $2,000 or $3,000 to throw at a model right now. So, but I do want to start practicing getting my feet wet again with some Bandai, like 1/48 scale.
Yeah.
There you go.
Then, yeah, I'd love to get back into. I would love to get even some of like the Bandai Perfect Grade, like some of the $500 models. But I think it'll be a while before I'll be spending a couple of grand on a model. But I've been watching the show and loving it.
Most models aren't that expensive. Most kits are not that expensive. Like you could figure a kit to be, okay, let's take the AT-AT, for example. That was $1,000.
Yeah.
But most kits Jason, Craig, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's hard to get a hold of a resin kit. Like it is actually pretty difficult to get a hold of some of these kits that like a X-Wing or a B-Wing or, whatever the case may be. Start out with 3D printed ones from Max Repley. I mean, it's a couple $100, and if you can paint it, and it actually doesn't require a lot of building. So if that seems like a monumental task, building and painting.
No, it's not really I just want to refresh some things. I'll send you some photos later of a couple of the armor models that I still have. Okay. And given the fact that it was 15 years ago, I'm not embarrassed about how they look. No. And at the time, I didn't have all the equipment I have now.
Okay.
So,
Benjamin, sorry, I'm going to cut you off, but you also have, you technically have a specific set of skills based on the fact that
particular set of skills.
Well, seeing the fact that like you guys do the cosplay, you do the biker scout. I mean, those don't just come to you all pre-assembled and pre-weathered. I mean, I know they can, but I think you put a lot of work. You put a lot of work into that, right?
Yeah. So, and I have. I think I talked to you once before in a couple of shows. We invested and got a Wada airbrush. I think it's the Evolution CR. And I've been mixing my own cleaners and different things, and I have been practicing with some different weathering techniques. I just hate to waste some amazing kits and Archive X paints, but I've been practicing on props, and I definitely want to get back into some of the modeling. But I want to start on some of the Bandais, and then I certainly want to get back into, or would like to start on some of the studio scale. I just want to make sure. I feel like I wouldn't do it justice if I jumped straight into an expensive studio scale.
Yeah.
No, I agree. When I first started back into it, I did what your approach is, which I just went with like, simplistic pieces that I felt comfortable with. It was more my comfort zone. And then from there, I was like, okay, I'm getting a little bit more confident. Let me step up a notch. A little bit more confident. Let me step up a notch. And then also navigating and figuring out what's what. And just like any part of collecting, whether you're doing like, cosplay, or I hate to use the term cosplay specifically, but like you're building up a stormtrooper or biker scout.
Common term.
So like, yeah. So the thing is like, when you first get into something, you end up spending so much more until when you start learning how to do things yourself and you start figuring out what you need to buy and how to do it properly, not only does it look and look so much better and is it so much better quality, but you're spending a little bit less because you have the knowledge and the experience. So yeah, I think starting at a set point and then working from there is the best approach. And the Bandais are great because when you finish them, they display beautifully. Like you can
Yeah.
throw them up at any collection and they look
And I
fantastic.
know it's a slightly smaller scale. I think the ATST is 148. So
Okay.
it's not bad compared. I mean, I'd love to have a 124 and eventually I will, but I think the 148 is like $27 on Prime.
Oh, really?
So, I mean, just to practice some of the weathering, some of the paint chipping techniques. I love the Imperial armor. And the reason I want to start doing that is I think it's most similar to what I had a fascination to before, which was World War II armor. So like
Yeah.
German armor.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't start small. I just jumped right. I didn't do any of that. I should have probably, but I just jumped right in to 3 big kits, you know.
Well, and if you have the finances to do that, absolutely. We've been making some big purchases. We bought a lot of new camera equipment over the last month. So
Yeah, I wouldn't say I have
against-
the. I wouldn't
I'm not
say I
against
really.
spending money. I just hate wasting it if I can't give it its what it deserves, the respect.
Yeah, you want to do
deserves.
it justice.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't have a lot of finances to throw out there, you know. But, yeah, I'm right there along with you guys. Like I don't have.
You guys did make us spend our order our first Regal Robot order.
Which one?
A couple of weeks ago. We got 3 of the grav charges, and then we got the droid. What is it called? I went blank. The
the restraining bolt.
yeah, the restraining bolt.
Oh,
And
okay.
then we also got some thermal detonators from Roman Props. So
Okay.
we got
Nice,
one,
yeah.
and Eben, oh my gosh, Eben sent us one, which is so unexpected. But
Which one? From a Regal Robot?
no, I'm sorry, not from Regal Robot, but all the same week. I'll show
Mhm.
you.
Yeah, so the 3 magnets from Regal Robot, which is, even the magnets, man, is second to none. Like Chris, from visiting, like they actually hand paint those like right in the studio. Fantastic quality and
there's a whole table.
fantastic.
There's a whole table of them lined up. He just goes
Yeah.
down and paints them right away.
And fantastic customer service there. And then
So
the
we-
Roman Props, their thermal detonators are fantastic.
So we had mentioned that we wanted to get the clean version when we were on Eben's show, and he had mentioned no, it has to be weathered. I'm like, no, I think I'd like the clean. I might weather it myself.
Okay.
So he sent us the clean, but he had talked us into it, so I ordered the weathered. So they both arrived the same day, like a week ago.
Awesome.
And they're awesome. I need to do a review, but I tore my whole office and everything apart. So I haven't really posted much photos in the last week or so, but I need to get back into it.
Jason,
Now, go ahead.
Jason, this question here, Lassie's A-wing, the decals aren't going to be correct, right? Because it's a smaller scale.
Yeah, it's a different scale, but you can always. So what I was going to do, was you can buy decal paper, use it on an inkjet printer. Yeah, use it on an inkjet printer, and just use a decal setter, and that should do the trick.
All right, you're gonna have to make them and send them to me.
Yes, sir. I'll do that.
Okay.
So Benjamin, I was gonna ask, the thermal detonators from Roman Props. I don't remember. Do those come pre-assembled, or are they like the KR where you have to build them up?
No, so I'll show you. They're pre-assembled.
Okay.
Once I cover my face, it focuses. There we go. So it's pre-assembled, and it's really simple. Just uses 2 batteries. He numbers each side, so it really does just snap in there nice. And of course,
Oh, nice.
yeah. So I've been wanting one for a while, and I'm so afraid that they'd stop making them. So it was the next thing we wanted to get.
Is that the correct size?
Yeah. Well, so
wow.
well, as far as I know, I think they replicated it as closely as they could for Return of the Jedi, and then he actually provided them for Mandalorian.
Okay.
So from what I understand, they used the Mandalorian version. Now, I don't think that they used the weathered version. I think they actually got the clean and weathered them for production, which is why I wanted the clean. But now I have some of both, and I'm really excited. Robin definitely wants. She's holding off whatever funds for RS if they come out with a Bausch helmet. So the weathered will go with hers, and then the clean will go with the RS Biker Scout helmet.
Yeah, we're all kind of wondering when that Bausch is going to happen. So it's been a while. They've been
She
talking
does
about
not
it for
want
a
to
little
miss
while.
it because we already missed the Bo-Katan, and I still hate myself for that.
Well, you could still get it.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, you can still get it.
I think I assumed it was going to be like $1,000 or over, and then after we had missed it, she said no, it was like 600. I'm like, wait a minute, 600 delivered with the plaque. I should have got it.
So. Yeah. Well, that was their first or second. Was that their first exclusive? The Hyperdrive, the ones that they did. That was their first one.
I don't remember. They all hit at a bad time for me.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why
things hit at a bad time all the time. So
yeah, I know, but
everything that comes out is a bad time. That's for sure. You know, so like right now, I'm saving for Celebration, and something just came up, and I'm like, I gotta wait till after Celebration. So yeah, something big came up. So
we want to see how you guys at Celebration. Maybe a following year, especially if they do it in like Orlando, would be awesome.
I think they skip. They go to UK, and then they'll come back to Orlando. So it might not be for 2 years.
Maybe I'll go to the UK version.
Yeah, hang out with the guys at RS.
I'd love to. Yeah, we have enough air miles saved up. I want to make a trip to Germany soon and see everybody. So that'd be fun.
Jason, you still there?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Wasn't sure if you were still there. Usually when you're not talking, you figure you're not there. So you guys, what made you guys decide like that you wanted to start? Like you said you were doing tanks before, right? That's how yeah.
Yeah, so I did tanks maybe 15 years ago before I met Robin, and we've just been busy with other things, and we really started getting back into Star Wars really full force really in the last like 3 to 5 years, but we started I got her a strong interest into it, only about a couple of years into being married.
Yeah.
She loves it. I know I'm incredibly fortunate. Not that many couples in the Star Wars collecting groups, but she's incredibly supportive. She actually wants more things than I do at the moment, which is an awesome.
Do you guys collect anything other than Star Wars, or you do other IPs?
So not a lot. I do have some original props from Alien, like Prometheus.
Okay.
Fortunately, Alien is a less expensive franchise to buy original props. So I've purchased some from Prop Store, and I've got a few things from production from individuals that worked on this. Cool. But yeah, not a whole lot of other. I mean, I know some of you guys love Blade Runner. I love the aesthetics of Blade Runner, but I don't have any pieces.
I'm not really a big fan of Blade Runner, to be honest. I
love the aesthetic.
I love Blade Runner.
Yeah, I love the aesthetic. I just don't have anything. I think the iconography of particularly the first Alien, because John Mallow worked on Alien in between Star Wars and Empire. It even delayed production on the next film. So some of the things crossed over, even like the blasters and some of the helmets like that you saw on the set. I think the one helmet with the button on the front that says like push for something on the set of the Nostromo Bridge was the helmet that matched the flight suit that Bosk wore in Empire.
Yeah.
So they crossed over some things, and that I just love that, the connection. So
Jason, I want to talk about, what I want to talk about, right?
No.
You don't? Come on, you know exactly what I've been gushing over today.
Oh yeah, go for it, man.
Oh man, I'm getting it. I'm getting myself a new studio scale model. It's
oh wow.
Yeah. It's Milano. I have been lusting after this for a while, and I found a way to get one. Yeah, I am over the moon. I'm gonna have a chance to get one of these babies. It's big. Oh, damn it! What happened? It's big. It's about 30 inches wide.
Yeah, it's
and
big.
15 inches high and lights up. Let me see if I can find. I know I had the pictures up here. Damn it! What did I do with them? No, come on, man. I'll have to find them. But yeah, it underneath it has like a lot of lights too.
Are the lights included, or do you have to do that yourself?
Oh no, I'm not doing it myself. I'm getting it built
Oh.
by somebody. So this is something I'm really excited for. Oh,
No, I love the modeling stuff. We've been enjoying you guys' shows on it.
Yeah, it's all we talk about, right, Jason?
Yeah.
It's pretty much. I call him at least once a day, right? Sometimes more, and I'm usually waking him up. But and sometimes I interrupt his important work. But right, Jay?
Working hard, brother.
Pushing buttons, right? But like I'll call him and I'll talk to him for like 3 hours on my way home from New York City, and just that's all we talk about. It's bad. We're addicted, and it's about the only thing that I'm really just.
It's not a bad thing to be addicted to.
It's pretty much the only thing I'm into right now is models and vintage too. I like vintage a lot, but everything else is pretty much
I
secondary.
I haven't gotten into it, but I think I've mentioned to you guys maybe in passing, started finally pulling up just a few pieces of all the vintage stuff that the three of us brothers had as kids.
Okay.
So nothing carded, but I did come across the box for our original Millennium Falcon spaceship.
Yeah.
So we still have the box for that. Most of the things we opened, but we took really good care.
I don't have anything from when I was a kid. I have
really?
nothing. No.
The nostalgia factor on that, Benjamin, is fantastic, huh?
We have everything. So I've been kind of putting it off because it was my brothers and I, especially my older brother.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ended up kind of barely kind of getting into it, just kind of a couple pieces at a time. It was just too much to get out at once. But it's been nice.
I thought there'd be more questions in the group. The last time I did this, there was a lot of questions, but not much today. So, you got anything else you want to talk about, Jason?
No, I'm just kicking back, enjoying some conversations. So,
yeah. Well, it's good to have you on, Benjamin. It's been, you guys have been watching us for a long time. Your camera is really clear.
So we just bought a new camera. That's why I'm not buying too much Star Wars stuff. We had an EOS R, and we just bought an R5, brand new, like a week and a half ago.
Oh, nice.
So I haven't even taken any photos with it. It's just been used for video so far. Probably need to test it out a little bit, but
this comment here, honestly, my collection didn't change for years. We're talking 25 years, probably 27 years. And now that I'm on this channel, it's changed drastically. It has changed. I used to only collect like Hasbro 3 3/4 figures. Now I don't collect them at all. I mean, I collect the vintage, but like RS has changed my view of collecting Regal Robot.
Absolutely.
And and people like Lee Ralph and Eaton and Simmons, they've changed my collection drastically. I don't buy any 3 3/4 figures anymore. Yes, the Merlin model ATA is shipping.
Yes. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Yes.
So notifications came in today. Keep in mind though, because it's a run of 100. I don't think all 100 are hitting at once. I think they're shipping in batches, kind of like what Regal Robot does. Well, they'll, like if it's an edition of 75, the first 15 or 20 will go out, so on and so forth. So I just say that because you know how sometimes anticipation and excitement you see couple people getting in, all of a sudden everybody's bombarding Merlin models with emails. Just if you got your shipping, if you got your shipping notification, you're in the first batch. They should be coming in soon.
People have
Yeah.
been hitting him up right and left on that what the hell you call that service that talk what is it called,
the
Discord. Yeah, every now and then people are like hitting him up. Hey, did my payment go through? He's like, yeah, it did go through. I'm sure he's tired of answering that question, but he's gonna hear a whole new a lot of new questions coming with shipping.
Well, that's why I just say, they're going out in batches. So I don't know I don't have any inside information or anything like that, but I do know that not like all 100 is shipping all on one day. So they're probably gonna, let a few out every couple days because, keep in mind it's a lot of pieces to handle and ship and logistically get it correct. Just as you would like with NYC statues or anything like that. So as they start coming in, I think I think it's gonna be a game changer because there's a lot of uncertainty there, right? Specifically surrounding the price for an unfinished kit. But I think once these are in hand, this is the show improve where people are going to see what they receive and be like, okay, now I know what I'm paying for.
Right.
And in addition to that, when ours arrives, me and Chris, we're going to jump on, and it's not going to be quite an unboxing because it's going to be difficult to unbox something like that, like you would a statue or a figure.
Yeah.
But, we're going to remove some pieces, showcase a little bit of the packaging, talk about, what we have in hand, maybe do just a little bit of a build of it, maybe a leg or something like that. However it works out, showcase some of that and how it all comes together, and maybe even do a couple episodes around that. But I'm really excited to have this in hand because there's been a lot of stuff, like I said, technologies has allowed for a lot of things to open up and a lot of things to come forward as far as studio skill stuff. But this is the first time we're seeing this level of quality in a ready to build kit without having to spend hours of cleaning or guessing what parts are missing or trying to figure out what's what.
And not having to hunt down all the kits for found parts.
What I also want to point out too is Jason, what I also want to point out too is, if you want these kits to keep coming out, support them. If people aren't buying their kits, you're not going to get, anything down the line like the McQuarrie X-Wing or, you know what I mean? Or anything after that. If they're not selling, they're not going to keep building, putting these things out there. So if you want to add, if you want something to eventually come down the line, I mean, where else are you going to get, let's say, I don't know, an ATST or they have some concept pieces coming soon. You're not going to find that anywhere else. So put your money where your mouth is. Don't bitch that you want something and not buy things to keep
just like everybody else, they got payment plans and put a deposit down, and you can work from there. So it's going to be exciting. I'm really interested in this one, and I'm really excited for it. There's a lot of anticipation there.
This Far From Death Star, not to change the subject, but this is depressing. This is no more carded bubbles. This is
so awful. What are they gonna be, like in a recyclable box or?
Well, I don't know. Right now they're just doing cardboard boxes, and then it's open. Like you can actually touch the figures. That's how it is right now with some of the cheaper figures. But man, that just is that's a blow to my 25 years of collecting.
Are they really?
It's not what you remember as kids.
Yeah.
Are they really going to do it with that line though? I thought they were only going to do it with Black Series and stuff like that.
That's what I'm hearing. I mean, I don't know for sure. I haven't been following that much, but I keep seeing it all over the place. And, listen, okay, if they're going to change, instead of changing the card to bubbles, get rid of those stupid, I mean, I know they're for children, but there's some terrible lines that they're putting out. Hasbro is killing the Star Wars toy line. They're destroying it. I mean, they're absolutely coming out with the worst shit that is possible. And that, carded bubbles aren't going to change anything. You can save a lot more plastic by getting rid of the garbage that they put out. Yeah, cardboard boxes with more art on it. Yeah, this is not.
It's going
Yes.
green, man. Everybody's woke. It's 2022, man.
It's fucking
Will you still see the figures, or do you think they're hiding within a cardboard box to hide the painting?
I have no idea.
I think it might just be like generic label style, right? Just like a black and white image or something to let you know what's inside.
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, it's anyone's guess, but interested to see. I mean, I know it's blasphemy to an extent, but I tip my hat to a company that's trying to be, eco-conscious.
but they're making plastic figures and they're worried about the plastic bubbles.
Because the figures stay in your collection, and people who open, that's all going into trash and landfill. So it makes sense.
Honestly, there's not. Okay, think about this. More of those figures are going into garbage piles than are being collected. Right? Kids play with them for a certain amount of time, they throw them away. Parents throw them away. That's the most like. For every one collector, there's probably 5 kids throwing it in the garbage. You know what I mean? So, I understand the plastic bubble is pretty much garbage, but I can't even talk about it. You asked for I ask for the plastic straws at Starbucks. I definitely do. Say, Jason, I cannot drink out of a paper straw. I can't.
Oh no!
It makes me gag.
No, like a soggy, wet straw is not.
So I don't even. What is coming out May 4th? Have we heard anything lately?
They did drop just a little bit ago. There's a limited 5,000 piece Ahsoka Tano hilt from Shop Disney. Now, from what I understand, I don't have any Ahsoka Tano hilts, but from what I understand, it's the pre-existing hilt, but it's limited to 5,000 pieces because it now comes in a special box. So
5,000 pieces is not. That's a lot of pieces.
Yeah, but it's both parks and shopdisney.com. So, I mean, I'm sure they'll wipe it out pretty quick.
Okay.
Because last time they did it for 3,000 pieces, they were gone almost immediately. So I assume they're just holding back more pieces for online.
So the RS Sand Trooper, does anybody know? Because a friend of mine asked me, and I don't know the answer to this question, but what time is it dropping? Does anybody know what time it's dropping? So is it UK time? Is it East Coast? Is it American time? Like what? Do you know what time it's dropping on May 4th?
I have no idea, man. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, a friend of mine asked me, and I was like, I'll try to find out. But I mean, other than asking Andrea, but I'm not buying it, so I don't want to bother with it.
I'm going to hold off. I'm going to hold off for a full commission. So far, I've only been buying full commissions of RS stuff, so I'm going to try and keep that up as long as I can.
Okay, RS usually at 6 p.m. their time. It's 10 a.m. for PST time.
All right, so that would be 1 o'clock for us.
Yep, 1 o'clock for us.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, that helps. Good. Oh, you know what? I'm talking about it, and it's not up there. There we go. Far from Death Star. Thank you for the comment. Mandalorian bust.
Looks interesting. Beautiful. Yeah, it does look good.
The photos look great.
It looks amazing. Is that you, Jason?
Nope.
I'm sorry, it's me. I can mute for a minute if you want.
I got it. Disney Park Sabers are great for the money. They are. I mean, yes, there are some that are like really thick, which I'm not a fan of, but some like Darth Maul is actually a pretty thin one. It's good size. I am very interested in the RS deal, but any idea how much? Because it's a signature. Usually their signature stormtroopers are like 350 pounds, right? But it's an HDPE. So it's going to be 500 or 600 pounds, right, Jason?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Signatures are usually around that 556 range. HTP shouldn't jump it up too much, but an extra 40. I'd say it'd be between 550 and 6. But when has an RS piece not been worth the money, right?
Oh, it's definitely worth the money. But there's not much I wouldn't buy from. In fact, there's nothing I wouldn't buy from RS. The Ahsokas are going to be big and clunky. They are. I have these. I don't have it in the special box, but they are thick and large. So I'm also saving for an RS Bausch. Any guesses as the price on that one? No.
I'm scared, but I'm gonna buy it no matter what.
Yeah, I
That
don't.
one's gonna be. I think that one's gonna float around the 1,000 mark.
That's what I'm
Probably.
expecting, because I know there'll be
1,000.
some paint and weathering.
1,000 pounds.
Yeah, that's what I meant. 1,000 pounds. I'm sorry.
That's
What,
1,400.
$1,250?
Yeah,
That's
roughly 1,250.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot more. That sucks. I mean, wish we could just buy things for $350 instead of $500.
But Robin wants it, so I don't have a choice.
Yeah. Well, they had that video out, and there was what 10 helmets they were talking about having out this year.
Yeah.
We're already in May, so I don't see 10 helmets coming out by the end of the year.
I want them all now.
I do too. First and foremost on my mind is the AT-AT. That I want the most.
And it's gorgeous. I think I don't have a tie yet,
Mhm.
so I need to have a tie variant from
Okay.
RS.
Yeah, you need okay. So
But I
the
want to
tie,
get a bust.
yeah, you have to have a
Yeah,
bust.
I have to get a bust.
The tie on a shelf,
It's too pretty without.
yeah, the tie on a shelf kind of stands out because it's so large, but on a bust, it's magical.
No, it'll look great. I'll do it probably on like the wall over there, like on a floating shelf.
Yeah.
So
Bausch paying whatever it is for me. I really want that helmet. Yep. Doesn't matter
I
how
hope
much it
Rob's
costs.
not watching.
You hope Robin's not watching?
No, I said I hope Rob's not watching.
Oh, no,
All of
he's
us saying
sleeping.
we'll pay no matter what it is. That's
No, he's still sleeping. I actually sent him the link to see if he wanted to join us. I have the KR Sabers. They're really accurate, much slimmer. They are, yeah. They're much nicer than
The KO Sabres are spot on, and a lot of his research, believe it or not, a decent amount of it comes from some of the original bits and pieces you see in production.
Evening all. I'm very interested in the RS Sandy, but I'm dying for the last few gold leader signatures. Yeah, those are good. Yeah, if you get a chance to get one of those, definitely do. It's beautiful. It's one of the best looking pilot ones that is out there. Bausch and AT-AT are musts. Another must for me is a Veers. I'm a huge fan of Julian Glover. I love him and everything he's been in so far, and I'm dying to meet this guy. If he's a Celebration, I'm meeting him. Then I've been trying to. There's been a couple shows I've been trying to get to meet him, but he keeps having a post cancel because of COVID, and
yeah,
it's in Pittsburgh. But
so
thanks everybody for the comments.
Yeah, I actually do not even have a classic TK helmet, and the only reason I haven't bought one is just because I'm planning on getting a full commission.
Okay,
I just keep holding off, thinking I'll go ahead and order a full commission because I want to put on a mannequin.
How many full commissions do you have on order?
Oh, no, just the one. I only have the RS Biker Scout at the moment.
Okay.
And I'm still working on the Shore Trooper. It's just been this year kind of slowed me down. So I took a little time off from it, but I need to get back to it.
How many gold leaders are left to sell? Okay, so we sold the first 25 on our group. Probably sold about 20. There was 5 already sold. I think it's a run of 50, right, Jason?
I'm not sure. I think it's I don't quote us on that, but I think it's a low run. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not high. I mean, they had to go back and have the guy re-sign all these signatures, but I thought it was a run of 50. So, but definitely get it if you can. What happens? No, that's not going to happen. That ain't going to happen.
I think they'll put some little time between.
Yes. I mean, what's the last release they've had? I mean, what? Boba Fett was the last release? No.
Technically,
Yeah. I mean, there hasn't been
the
another.
updated scope,
Yeah, but I mean, like
like an
signature.
official new release. Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
been Boba was the last.
Boba was the last, and our exclusive, the concept.
That was the last one. The concept maquette.
Besides that, it was Boba, which we've had our Bobas for a year and a half now. Not this past Christmas before that.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think Rob said the last. Yeah, there's probably 25 left. Oh, you're right, Russell. Biker Blasters. Yep. But helmet wise, it was probably Boba. RS has not sold a Red Leader, but they have made Red Leader helmets.
Yeah, Matt got one.
Matt doesn't have a Red Leader.
There he does.
No, he doesn't. He has
I'm pretty
Bigs.
sure.
No,
I'm pretty sure he does.
He definitely does not. He has Bigs. He has Wedge. He has Red 5. He does not have a Red Leader. That's for sure. Think we'll see Bouch this year?
I hope so. No?
I don't think it'll be this year.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. Give me a little more time.
Yeah, I think if anything, it's next year. I think AT-AT is I think AT-AT's coming next. I think that's going to be the next one they talk about coming out. So,
I mean, AT-AT's been being worked on for a little bit, right?
AT-AT's been worked on for like 5 years.
Because I remember, like officially ready to drop. Like it's been being worked on for a little bit, right?
Yeah, it's probably like right before the fire. I remember they were talking to us about really going in on it. Right?
Yeah.
I'm glad they didn't lose more.
Lose more what?
Well, I mean, in the fire. I'm glad they were set up as a fail-safe.
Yeah. That would be tragic. I think we're good for tonight, huh? We'll be going an hour and a half. You guys good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think the AT-AT is next. Hey Harry, how's it going? We're about to sign off. Benjamin, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for letting me jump on.
Yeah,
a lot of fun.
We were talking a little while ago about when you guys, after you guys went on with Evan, we've been talking about, asking you to come on because you guys are on every show and commenting.
We're on every time. We have a lot of fun. We were on Evan's show, and then we were on Sithcast, and I think we're going back on Sithcast is going live all day May 4th, so we're going to jump on and off, just to kind of support him. But yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, that's cool.
If you're ever having a slow night and you don't have anybody to talk to, you can let one of us know. Next time Robin will be ready. She couldn't get back in time.
That's fine. That's cool.
So.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's good for tonight. Thanks everybody for joining us and for the comments. And it was just an impromptu show. We figured we'd get on and talk a little bit, and lucky to have Benjamin Jonas. So, anything else you guys want to say?
I think so. I think that's it, right?
Yeah. All right. Night, everybody. And I think we have, like I said before, we have a group therapy probably this Friday, and I think a print show tomorrow night. I don't know for sure, but more than likely. So, night, everyone.
Good night, guys. Good night, guys.
Good night, guys.